I never thought I'd have to fight my own stepmother over something as ridiculous as a car. But then again, Denise had always had a way of taking what wasn't hers and making it seem like it was owed to her. I was 29, working as a senior marketing manager at a growing tech company, and for the first time in my life, I felt like I was winning. After years of long hours, high-pressure deadlines, and proving myself in a competitive field, my hard work had finally paid off. My company had rewarded me with a fully paid-for company car, a sleek, brand-new Tesla, black with a deep gloss finish that made it look like liquid metal in the sunlight. It wasn't just a car, it was a symbol of everything I had worked for. And then Denise saw it. Denise had married my dad, Richard, when I was 23, about 3 years after my mom passed away. She was one of those women who had spent her whole life looking for a shortcut, whether it was marrying rich, schmoozing her way into social circles, or borrowing things that mysteriously never found their way back to their original owners. She was obsessed with appearances, constantly snapping pictures of herself at expensive restaurants, never mind that my dad was footing the bill, posting about exclusive spa days, aka Groupon deals, and fawning over whatever latest trend made her seem wealthier than she actually was. She had also made it very clear from the start that she saw me as an inconvenience rather than family. "Oh, Emma," she'd say with an exaggerated sigh every time we were in the same room, "still working so hard? If only you'd let a real man take care of you." She had never hidden her disdain for the fact that I was financially independent. To her, a woman's success was measured by how well she could manipulate someone else into taking care of her. And my dad, bless his oblivious heart, was wrapped around her manicured finger. Denise and I tolerated each other, barely. She loved making passive-aggressive digs about how I was too busy with my little job to focus on what really matters. I ignored her and focused on building a life of my own, one that didn't require leeching off others. But the moment she set her sights on my new car, I knew I was in trouble. It was a Saturday afternoon when I pulled into my dad's driveway, the sunlight bouncing off the Tesla's polished surface. I had only planned to drop by for a quick visit, have a cup of coffee, chat with my dad for a bit, and then head back home. I barely had time to step out of the car before I heard the screech. "Oh my God!" Denise came strutting out of the house, her phone already in hand, camera flashing as she took pictures. "Emma!" she gushed, her eyes practically sparkling with greed. "This car is stunning!" "Oh, sweetheart, you shouldn't have." I frowned. "Shouldn't have what?" Denise flipped her hair over her shoulder, sliding effortlessly into a fake laugh. "Don't be silly. This is obviously a gift for me." She circled the car, already envisioning herself behind the wheel. "I mean, you know I've been needing an upgrade. And a Tesla? It's just so me." I blinked, convinced I had misheard her. No, it's my company car." Denise waved a dismissive hand. "Oh, Emma, you barely drive anywhere. And you know how much I love electric cars. It would look so good for our family's image." Our family's image? Since when had Denise given a damn about anything but herself? At that moment, my dad stepped onto the porch, coffee mug in hand, his usual tired expression already settling in. He looked between the two of us, sensing the tension. "What's going on?" Denise turned to him dramatically, placing a hand on her chest like some kind of soap opera villain. "Oh, Richard, isn't our daughter so generous?" Dad's brow furrowed. "Generous how?" "She's giving me her company car. Isn't it wonderful? I've always wanted a Tesla." I opened my mouth to protest, but my dad's sweet, naive, gullible dad just nodded with an absent-minded smile. "That's nice, sweetheart." I stared at him. Was he serious? "Dad," I said, voice strained, "I'm not giving her my car." Denise gasped as if I had just told her I was burning down the house. "Emma, don't be ridiculous. I've already taken pictures. Everyone's expecting me to show it off." I crossed my arms, trying to keep my cool. "That sounds like a you problem." Her eyes darkened. "You wouldn't embarrass me like that, would you?" And there it was, the real Denise. the one lurking beneath all the fake smiles and Instagram filters. She wasn't asking me for the car, she was demanding it. But what made my blood boil wasn't just her entitlement, it was the way my dad just stood there, saying nothing. This wasn't new. My dad had spent years making excuses for Denise's behavior. Every time she overstepped, every time she took something that wasn't hers, he would just sigh and say, "You know how she is, Emma. It's easier to let it go." Not this time. I took my keys and slipped them into my pocket. "Sorry, Denise. The car stays with me." She narrowed her eyes at me, a slow smirk curling her lips. "We'll see about that." At the time, I didn't fully understand what she meant. But by the next morning, my car and my patience would be gone. I woke up Sunday morning feeling refreshed, ready for a quiet, relaxing day. I had no idea that within an hour, I'd be on the verge of breaking something expensive, preferably over Denise's head. It started with a simple trip outside to grab my mail. As I stepped onto the driveway, I instinctively reached for my key fob, ready to admire my hard-earned car. Except it wasn't there. For a moment, I froze. My brain scrambled for a logical explanation. Had I parked somewhere else? Had it been towed? And then it hit me. Denise. I rushed inside, grabbed my phone, and pulled up her social media. Sure enough, there it was. A picture of my car parked in front of a high-end brunch spot across town, Denise standing beside it with her sunglasses perched on her head, and a fake, "I deserve this" smile plastered across her face. The caption read, "Finally driving the luxury I deserve. Love my new ride." The comment section was infuriating. "OMG, Denise, it's stunning. Richard is such a generous husband. You deserve this, queen. Electric and elegant, so you. A step up from that old BMW, huh? Good for you." She had completely taken credit for my car. I clenched my jaw and dialed her number. She let it ring out before declining. I called again. Declined. Oh, she was playing this game? Fine. I called my dad. He picked up on the second ring, sounding confused. "Hey, sweetheart. What's up?" "Dad," I said, struggling to keep my voice even. "Where is Denise?" "She went to brunch with some friends." "Why?" I let out a slow breath, pressing my fingertips to my temples. "She took my car, Dad." There was silence on the other end. "Oh," he said, as if I had just informed him that Denise had borrowed a sweater, not committed grand theft auto. "Oh? That's all you have to say?" My voice was rising, but I didn't care. "She stole my car, Dad." "Well, sweetheart, I thought you two sorted that out yesterday. Denise said you were letting her use it." I nearly threw my phone. "She said what?" Dad sighed, like he was already exhausted by this conversation. "Emma, it's just a car." "It's my car." "I know, but you barely drive, and you know how much she—" I hung up. My hands were shaking. I could already picture Denise, sipping her overpriced mimosa, flipping her hair, telling her friends some exaggerated story about how her generous stepdaughter had gifted her a brand new Tesla. I wasn't going to let this slide. I grabbed my spare key fob, threw on my sneakers, and drove my other car straight to that brunch spot. When I pulled into the parking lot, my eyes locked onto my car immediately. It looked as flawless as ever, except for one detail. Denise had put a vanity plate on it. A vanity plate. It read, Queen D. I had to take a deep breath to stop myself from screaming. I marched inside, scanning the restaurant until I spotted her, seated at an outdoor table with 3 of her equally fake friends. She was mid-laugh, phone in hand, probably bragging about her latest upgrade. I walked straight up to the table and crossed my arms. "Denise?" I said coolly. She looked up, her expression flickering from surprise to annoyance. "Emma, sweetheart, what a surprise!" "Cut the crap," I snapped. "Give me my keys." Her friends gasped, looking between us like this was some juicy reality show moment. Denise smiled tightly and took a deliberate sip of her mimosa. "Emma, don't be dramatic. Give me my keys." She rolled her eyes, setting her drink down with an exaggerated sigh. I told your father that you were fine with this. My father is a spineless idiot when it comes to you, I shot back. I never agreed to anything. Her friends shifted uncomfortably, sensing the absolute war that was about to break out. Denise put on her wounded stepmother face. Emma, why are you making such a big deal out of this? I thought you wanted to do something nice for me. I already told everyone. I don't care what you told anyone, I cut her off. I want my car back, now. She folded her arms. Well, I drove here, so unless you want to strand me. I smirked and dangled my spare key fob between two fingers. I do, actually. Her mouth fell open. I pressed the unlock button. My car beeped from across the lot. Denise's face turned red. Emma, you wouldn't dare! I smiled, full of mock innocence. Oh, I would. Then I turned on my heel, walked to my car, got in, and drove away, leaving Denise standing there, humiliated, abandoned, and absolutely fuming. Little did I know, she wasn't done yet. I barely had time to enjoy my victory before the fallout began. By the time I got home, my phone was exploding with notifications, texts, missed calls, voicemails, all from my dad. I sighed, tossing my phone onto the couch and rubbing my temples. I already knew what the conversation would be. 2 minutes later, the landline rang. I let it ring. It rang again. I groaned, snatching it up. Dad, if you're about to defend Denise, don't bother. Emma, what the hell did you do? His voice was sharp, angrier than I'd heard in years. What did I do? I snapped. I took back the car she stole from me. She's stranded, Emma, he shot back. You just left her there? I scoffed. She's a grown woman. She has a phone. She can call an Uber. Emma, do you have any idea how embarrassing this was for her? A bitter laugh escaped me. Oh no, did the Queen of Brunch get humbled in front of her equally fake friends? How tragic. Emma! His voice dropped, lower, colder. She posted about it. I grabbed my phone, already scrolling. Sure enough, Denise had wasted no time running to her beloved audience. Her newest post, betrayed by someone I trusted. I thought family was supposed to support each other, not humiliate them. Some people only know how to take, never give. Lesson learned. And of course, the comments were filled with sympathy. OMG, Denise, what happened? You deserve better. Some people are just selfish. This is why I only trust my real family. Fake people will always show their true colors. Denise was playing the victim. Again. I snorted. Wow, she's really good at this. She's devastated, Emma, Dad said, voice heavy with disappointment. You made her look like a fool in public. She is a fool, I shot back. She stole my car and pretended it was hers. I just corrected her lie. Dad sighed. Couldn't you have handled it privately? Talked it out? I clenched my jaw. Dad, I did talk to her. Yesterday. And she ignored me and stole my car anyway. Silence. I could feel his hesitation. His desperate attempt to find a way to excuse Denise's actions. Finally, he sighed. You need to apologize. I actually laughed. You're joking. Emma, you humiliated my wife. She humiliated herself, I snapped. She stole my car. She lied about it online. And now she's mad she got caught. Dad's voice turned sharp. Emma, this is my marriage. And this is my car. I cut him off. So maybe if you'd actually check your wife when she pulls stunts like this, we wouldn't be having this conversation. I hung up. Denise didn't back down. Over the next few days, she doubled down on her sob story, milking sympathy from every corner of her little world. The vague, heartbroken social media posts continued. She went full martyr mode, posting inspirational quotes about forgiveness and family betrayals. Her audience ate it up. Then, things escalated. I was working late one evening when I got a call from an unknown number. I hesitated, but curiosity got the better of me. Hello? A sickly sweet voice responded. Emma, it's Denise. I pinched the bridge of my nose. What do you want? She let out a theatrical sigh. I just think we should put this mess behind us. After all, we're family. I rolled my eyes. Translation: You don't like how this turned out for you. A laugh light, breathy, fake. Oh, sweetheart, you always assume the worst of me. Because you are the worst, Denise. Silence. Then, a new tone low, smug, calculated. Well, I suppose we'll see who wins this little game, won't we? I frowned. What does that mean? A pause, then a snide little chuckle. Oh, nothing, dear. Nothing at all. Then she hung up. Something about her tone set my teeth on edge. And the next morning, I found out why. When I arrived at work, my boss, Lisa, was waiting in my office, arms crossed, looking uncharacteristically serious. I barely had time to put my bag down before she said, Emma, we need to talk. I frowned. What's going on? She tapped on her phone, then turned it toward me. Care to explain this? I looked. My stomach dropped. It was a post from a local business review site. An anonymous review claiming that I, Emma, a high-ranking employee of the company, was rude, unprofessional, and had bragged about using company resources for personal gain. The post specifically mentioned my Tesla. I sat back, stunned. Denise. It had to be. Lisa sighed. Look, I don't believe it for a second, but corporate flagged it. They're investigating. I clenched my fists. That bitch! Denise couldn't get what she wanted, so she was trying to hurt me another way. Lisa studied me. Emma, if there's something going on, you need to tell me now. I took a deep breath. And then I told her everything. The stolen car. The social media lies. The pathetic victim act. Lisa listened, nodding slowly. When I was finished, she exhaled. Wow, your stepmother sucks. You have no idea, I muttered. She tapped her fingers on the desk. All right, well, I can't just ignore the complaint, but I can get ahead of it. I looked up. What do you mean? Lisa smirked. Denise is using social media to control the narrative, right? Then we need to flip the script. I blinked. You mean go public? Lisa shrugged. Why not? It's your reputation. Why not clear your name? I hesitated. I wasn't big on drama. I preferred to handle things quietly, but Denise had forced my hand. And suddenly, I realized this was exactly what she didn't want. She wanted me to hide, to be ashamed, to beg her to fix this. Instead, I smiled. I like the way you think, Lisa. That night, I made my own post. It wasn't dramatic. It wasn't petty. It was factual. I laid out exactly what had happened, step by step. Denise stole my company car. She lied about it being a gift. When I took it back, she played the victim. And when that didn't work, she tried to sabotage my career. I didn't mention her name, but everyone knew. And the responses? Wait, Denise lied? OMG, I can't believe I fell for her sob story. She really tried to ruin your job over a car? That's insane. And just like that, Denise lost control of the narrative. She had tried to ruin me, but all she had done was set herself up for disaster. The fallout from my post hit faster than I expected. Denise wasn't used to being called out. She was used to carefully curating her image, spinning her little narratives, manipulating reality to make herself look like the wrong party. But this time, she had no control. By the next morning, her once supportive audience had turned on her. Her social media was a disaster zone. Wait, so you actually stole the car? You let everyone think Emma gifted it to you? Wow. This is so embarrassing. Just apologize. I defended you, and you lied? She started deleting comments, but the damage was already done. The people she had spent years impressing were finally seeing her for who she really was. I wasn't finished yet. Denise had tried to sabotage my career. So I made one final move. I drafted a formal complaint to the website that had posted the false review, attaching every piece of evidence. I had screenshots of Denise's social media posts, texts where she blatantly admitted to taking my car, and even a statement from Lisa, who confirmed that no company resources had been misused. It took less than a day for the website to remove the post. Lisa sent me a simple text. Corporate cleared you. Denise failed. And with that, Denise's little revenge stunt had completely backfired. Denise, of course, wasn't about to go down quietly. I wasn't surprised when my dad showed up at my door that evening, looking exhausted. He ran a hand down his face. Emma, we need to talk. I crossed my arms. If this is about Denise, save your breath. He sighed. Emma, she's devastated. She says you've ruined her reputation. A sharp, bitter laugh escaped me. Oh no, did she get exposed for lying and stealing? That must be so hard for her. Dad winced. Emma! No, Dad, stop. You always do this. You always make excuses for her. When has she ever taken responsibility for anything? He hesitated, and for the first time, I saw a flicker of something in his expression, doubt. I pushed harder. Denise stole from me. She lied to you, she lied to her friends, and when she didn't get what she wanted, she tried to ruin my job. And you still expect me to feel bad for her? Dad looked tired. She's just upset, Emma. I exhaled slowly. And that's her problem, not mine. A long silence stretched between us. Finally, my dad rubbed his forehead and muttered, She wants to talk to you. I raised an eyebrow. She can talk here. He shook his head. No, she wants you to come over. I knew what this was. She wanted control. She wanted me in her space, on her terms, so she could try to manipulate the situation. But I wasn't afraid of Denise, so I shrugged. Fine. The moment I stepped into my dad's house, I could feel the tension. Denise sat stiffly on the couch, arms crossed, her eyes red like she had been crying. I didn't buy it. She waited until my dad was in the kitchen before she dropped the act. Her face hardened. I hope you're happy, Emma. I smirked. Very. Her nostrils flared. You humiliated me. I tilted my head. No, Denise. You humiliated yourself. I just made sure people saw the truth. Her jaw clenched. You owe me an apology. I laughed. Her eye twitched. Emma, I lost friends over this. Good, I shot back. Maybe next time, don't steal a car and lie about it. She huffed, shaking her head. You could have handled this privately? Oh, you mean like you did when you blasted your sob story all over social media? I countered. Or when you tried to smear my name online? She faltered for a second. No, Denise. You don't get to play the victim. Not this time. Her lips pressed together. Your father is miserable, Emma. I scoffed. And whose fault is that? She swallowed, like she was finally realizing she had lost. Good. I turned to leave, but she spat one last pathetic attempt at control. If you don't fix this, I'll never forgive you. I paused at the door. Then I glanced over my shoulder, smiling sweetly. I don't need your forgiveness, Denise. Then I walked out. Denise never apologized. That would have required self-awareness, and she had none. Instead, she did what she always did, played the victim, sulked, and waited for someone to fix the mess she had made. Only this time, no one did. Her social media turned into a wasteland of passive-aggressive quotes about learning who truly supports you and cutting out toxic people. The people who used to shower her with praise were gone, replaced by a few lingering enablers who still believed her nonsense. But the damage was done. Her so-called friends had distanced themselves. The brunch invitations stopped. The online validation she craved had dried up, and she hated it. At first, Dad kept trying to fix things. She's just hurt, Emma, he'd say. Maybe if you reached out. No. He blinked. Emma, No, Dad. My voice was steady, firm, final. I'm done. It took a while for him to accept that. For years, I had been the one making peace, letting things go, keeping the family together. But I was done being the bigger person. And you know what? The world didn't end. I focused on my job, my friends, my own happiness. Denise could stay miserable if she wanted to. That was her choice. And Dad? For the first time, he started to see her for who she really was. A few months later, I was grabbing coffee when I ran into one of Denise's old friends, Cynthia, a woman who had once been part of her little clique. She smirked when she saw me. "So, you finally put Denise in her place." I raised an eyebrow. "You heard?" She chuckled. "Everyone heard." She took a sip of her latte. "She tried to spin it at first, you know. Told us all you were spoiled, ungrateful, that you turned on her out of nowhere." I snorted. "Sounds about right." Cynthia leaned in slightly. "But here's the thing. Denise forgets that we all know her. We've seen her pull this crap before." I tilted my head. "Then why did you all defend her for so long?" She shrugged. "She was fun. She made things exciting. But after this?" She shook her head. "Nobody trusts her anymore." I wasn't sure why that moment stuck with me. Maybe because for years, it had felt like Denise always won, like she could manipulate her way out of anything. But this time, she had finally played herself, and I hadn't even needed to destroy her. She had done it all on her own. Dad and I still talked. It was different now, strained, but improving. I think deep down, he knew I had been right all along. He never left Denise, but something in their relationship shifted. She lost the absolute control she once had over him, and it ate at her. The last time I saw her, she barely looked at me. She wasn't angry anymore, just bitter. Good. She had made my life hell for years, acting like I owed her something. Now, she had nothing to take from me, and I had never felt more free.